And by the way, yesterday, I was talking to a couple parents about what young boys need. And I said, there's 5 things young boys need. They need a present father, the right belief system sold to them. You need high standards, you need friction, and you need fun. You need friction to be able to know that life's going to be tough. And over the weekend, I saw a video, an interview with Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins, one of my favorite actors of all time. The guy was in Shadowlands. He was in, I think it's called Shadowlands. He was in Silence of the Lambs. He's been on so many, The Fracture. He's been on so many things. But in this interview, he just came out with a book a few months back, and this interviewer is asking him about his daughter. His daughter's 58 years old. They haven't seen each other for 20-plus years.
Oh, wow.
And she does not want to see him. And you have to see how uncomfortable he gets. And then I want you to hear his answer. Then I'm going to come back to you guys. Then I want to show you a video clip of a son and a father talking to each other. This son is now 32 years old. But let's watch this clip first. Here's Anthony Hopkins being asked about his being estranged from his daughter. Go ahead, Rob.
For you. So
I know what you're going to talk about, my domestic life.
Yes.
No.
Even though it's in the book.
No. It's done.
He doesn't want to talk
Can
about
I
it.
ask a general question that's not specifically about the material in the book?
Well,
But it's about the... But I'll stumble through this. Part of the reason that the material in the book about your relationship with your daughter, your estranged relationship with your daughter, part of the reason why I found it so painful is that it resonated with me for personal reasons. I've seen my father, I think, twice in 20 years. I've spoken to him once in those 20 years. And I'm very curious about other people's experience of that kind of estrangement. In this instance, the estrangement is my choice, but I just wonder if you have thoughts about where reconciliation might lie between estranged parents and children.
my wife, Stella, sent an invitation to come and see us. Not a word of response. So I think, okay, fine. I wish her well, but I'm not going to waste blood over that. If you want to waste your life being in resentment, 50 years later, 58 years later, fine, go ahead. It's not in my ken. See, I could carry resentment over the past, this and the other. But that's death. You're not living. You have to acknowledge one thing, that we are imperfect. We're not saints. We're all sinners and saints or whatever we are. We do the best we can. Life is painful. Sometimes people get hurt. Sometimes we get hurt. But you can't live like that. You have to say, get over it. And if you can't get over it, fine. Good luck to you. But I have no judgment. But I did what I could. So that's it. That's all I want to say.
Do you hope your daughter reads the book?
I'm not going to answer that, no. I don't care.
I'll move on.
Please, I want you to. Because I don't want to hurt her.
I understand.
And I don't want to make any, 20 years the offer was made, but fine. Onwards.
What do you think?
That's tough, man.
Vinny, what do you think?
I mean, I'm curious. Like, what did they say? What happened for something like that to occur? Why the estrangement? Is there any fallout? Was it because of his acting? Was it because of an action? What did he do? Because I mean but I could feel the pain in the interviewer's thing. Because mind you, I don't have any kids, but I can only imagine what that must feel like. Is something that came from you. You can't communicate with that person. I lost my dad when I was 19. And Pat, we talked about this. I couldn't see. My mom's still alive. I love her to death. I couldn't see a moment or a scenario happening where I know that he's walking around and I wouldn't be able to talk to him or be around him, even though whatever he put us through. And remember, you asked me, Pat, I think a month ago, you're like, Vinny, not less than a month ago, we're eating dinner, and you're like, if you had 3 wishes, what would one of them be? And I told you, 5 minutes with my dad. Give me 5 minutes. So when I see people like that, it hurts because I'm like, you could see the pain. He doesn't want to talk to you. He's fighting it. He's fighting it, fighting. You've gave this person everything. You've nurtured this person. You gave them a life. They're 58 years old. They're an active, contributing person in society, and you can't get them to be with you or to even communicate with you. And it's like, man, that's a struggle. I can only imagine. But I can only imagine with everything that I've seen with you do, with Tico, with Dylan, with Senna, with Brookie. It would drive Pat if I found out one day Tico doesn't want to talk to you, and it's just because in his mind or a scenario happened in his head, he doesn't want to talk to you. It would crush me knowing how horrible you would feel because of everything that you've done and the lessons and everything with the video that you put on Instagram, the work and all the stuff that you put in. So I'd be curious to find out what happened. It's none of my business, but I mean, if he's saying it's in the book, but it's soul crushing. It's soul crushing, and I could see it in his face. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
In this article, this is him and Abigail did a movie together called Shadowlands, which I think is a story of C.S. Lewis, which is worth watching if you haven't seen it. And he was an alcoholic. He talks about it in his new book as well. He married his first wife, I believe, in 1967, and they had her. It's the only child he's ever had. And when they ask what happened and why he was hurt, and because if you go a little bit lower, there's a picture of the two together smiling. That's his daughter right there. So she was an extra, or she had some kind of a small role in a movie. Mm-hmm. Go a little bit lower, Rob. So he says they fought frequently. Hopkins explained that points of contention. Rob, can you see if they says they fought frequently? Is that his daughter or is that about his ex? Go a little bit higher to see if it's talking about his daughter or his ex. By the time we realized how awful of a match we were, Barker was pregnant, and we tried to rally for the sake of the child we were about to have, but it was no use. The marriage was a disaster. So he's talking about his wife. Go a little bit lower. And then he says they fought for Hopkins explained that points of contention included his alcoholism and Barker's resentment over his career. One night when he returned home from working on a location in Scotland, Barker greeted him with sarcasm and called him Mr. Lord, High and Mighty. I have never been physically violent, but in that moment I was filled with such revulsion that I became afraid for myself and her. And at that exact moment, Hopkins decided to leave for good and went to see his 14-month-old daughter in her room. I looked down at her and whispered goodbye. He writes, then I walked back to the hall, picked up my suitcase, and left the house. Go a little bit lower, Rob. Aside from sending financial support, I didn't have contact with Petronella and Abigail for a few years after that. It is the saddest fact of my life and my greatest regret, and yet I feel absolutely sure that it would have been much worse for everyone had I stayed.
And I don't know their religious beliefs, Pat, but horrible situation. I don't know if she's a Christian. I don't know if he's a practicing Christian. The attitude that he has, which I think is beautiful that I miss, is we're all sinners. We're far from perfect. By the way, I don't act. I'm trying to be the best Christian that I can. I try to walk in the path. I sin. I stumble all the time. He's at least saying, as a man, I messed up. We're all going to mess up. That's what this life is about. You are the furthest thing from what Christ asks, but we're trying to walk in the footsteps. And again, if she was a real, I don't know who she is. I don't know nothing about her except for what you guys wrote. If she was a real practicing Christian, that forgiveness, which is one of the hardest things. Praying for your enemies is number one for me, which is so difficult, but I do it. And then forgiveness, knowing that we fall short of the grace of God, but he gives us that moment to say, hey, listen, you're going to fail. You're imperfect. And if you accept that, then it could be that relationship could be a lot different. Because if that was me and I was a daughter and I was a real legitimate practicing Christian, I'd say, Dad, you know what? I love you. I forgive you. I'm not going to forget anything that you did, leaving me at 14 months old, but I do forgive you.
Adam.
Whoa. I'll try to not cry like Vinny, but it might be tough. But I'll say this. I'm respectful and jealous of the relationship you have with your dad, because I see the relationship you have with your dad, and I just didn't have that relationship at all with my dad. I had the opposite relationship, Vinny, where you said you want to spend 5 more minutes. I said, I can't spend 5 more minutes with this guy. I tried and tried to work out this relationship with my dad, and at the end of the day, I just had to block him from my life. And it was the first time that I was able to like press block on my phone after considering it. And he died less than a month later. And I had all these crazy voicemails on my phone. It was tough. But when you deal with challenges in your life, it only makes you better. Like if you see poor people, they get motivated. Bro, I'm not going to be poor. It's not going to happen. When someone says you can't do so, yes, I can. So for me, I had such a contentious relationship with my father. I'm like, I'm going to have the best relationship with kids. I was a camp counselor. I was a school teacher. All my best friends have kids. I'm like the fun uncle. I've taken a massive role in my nephew's life, especially since my sister got divorced. So I'm going to be the best possible uncle, father, leader. And obviously I'm going through that vetting system right now with my girl. But it's not easy. You know, you said these are the 5 things that every young man need. You said, what is a father?
Present
a belief
father,
system.
belief
Present father.
system,
A belief system.
standards,
High standards.
friction,
Fun. And fun. So, and I wrote it down because it's so true. And I wish that more people, that more men had that active role with their kids. I mean, you know, the one movie that you not encouraged us to see, you made us see, was The Judge. And Robert Duvall, I want to say, passed away last week. Mm-hmm. And that the relationship they had with their Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall, that was tough. I think he had to come back after being estranged for decades and represent his father that was accused of murder. And was this the movie? And he says, "Where were you?"
Yep.
Was that this movie?
That's Johnny Cash.
Okay,
Walk the Line.
gotcha. But same concept.
Both of them. But in
Yeah.
that scene, there's also where
There's
you,
that
oh,
moment.
she wanted, your
Yeah.
mother just wanted
Yeah.
to see you. Why don't you
Yeah.
come? Yeah.
So it's tough out there. And we've seen the stats about, the best outcome for a kid is to have a 2-parent household, a nuclear family. But then when you take away the father, the stats plummet. But when you take away the mother and it's a single father, the stats say the same. And I'm not discounting what single mothers do because God knows we have that massive problem in this country. But the father's role in the life is the most important thing. The last thing is this. I have friends on the opposite side of things, guys my age, that have gone through a divorce. And I've seen the women that hold the kids hostage from my buddies. And I wish it was an equal footing type of thing, but men have to know what they're getting themselves into in the legal system because they're always going to side with the mother, whether that's alimony, whether that's child support. So be very careful who you have kids with. Go through the vetting system.
1,000,000%.
I know you talk about the 101
Yeah.
questions to ask before you get engaged, but this life thing that we're all trying to do, nobody has all the answers.
But for the last 7 or 8 days, we've been at the Magic Show in Las Vegas, and we're currently at Italy at the Micam Show, the Milan Show, the show that everybody shows up, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Hermes, everybody. And you know who was there this year? Future Looks Bright shoes. There. We sent Pete, Leo, and Michele. Went over there, having a great time. Go ahead and give them an update on what's going on with these FLB shoes in Vegas at the Magic Show as well as Micam. Go ahead, Rob. Okay, by the way, you know what I'm wearing today?
Clean.
Again, let me say this to you guys. I'm wearing my brown ones, okay? Future Looks Bright. Vinny's wearing his black ones, okay? From September 9th, when I tell you from September 9th till today, I've only worn these shoes except for 5 days. That's all I wear. 5 days, okay? And I love them. They're so comfortable. Every day, this is all I wear. For some of you guys that are asking questions about shoes, we haven't done a CTA for a couple of weeks because it sells out every time we do them, okay? So if you haven't picked one up for yourself yet, go to the site, take a look at the shoe, compared with all the other shoes, the Berlutis, the Ferragamos, the Xenias, the Guccis. If you want a shoe that has the same, foam, the foam technology in the bottom, like the On Cloud or the Hokas, and then the look of a Xenia with the leather, genuine leather from Tuscany, Italy, and you want to combine the two together for a reasonable price while you can sit in a boardroom, put up your shoe on your knee, and it says Future Looks Bright and get the deal done, If you're that kind of a person, go to vtmerch.com, place your order. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.